Yeah, as I mentioned to those of you who have just joined, we are recording this meeting. So if you'd rather have your camera off, that's totally fine with us. We will be sharing the link to the recording after the meeting today via email, and it will be also available on our website and our YouTube channel. So you will be able to rewatch any parts you'd like. We will have a Q&A session towards the end of the meeting today, but feel free to pop your questions in the chat. And me and Yorgos, we will do our best to respond to them as we go. And after the Q&A, we will announce who won the raffle for Cosmo Explore. So that's exciting. So bear with us towards the end of the session. Okay, so it's 5 past, so let's make a start. Let me first introduce what we do here. Some of you know us and have used our product Cosmo before, but I can see some newbies as well. So as I mentioned, my name is Eva and I work at Philesia as Community Engagement Manager. And here at Philesia, we make EdTech and assistive technology products for people with cognitive and physical disabilities and early years learners as well. We are based in London and we were set up in 2014, originally in Greece. And then the company traveled to England with Yorgos, the founder, and it's been on the market since then. Our main product, Cosmo, consists of 2 parts, the software part and the hardware part. The software part is an app which was made here in-house by us, and it contains a set of games and activities based on music, sports, taking turns, cooperation with peers that aim to help learners develop a set of cognitive and physical skills. And the hardware parts are interactive buttons, which are used to play the games in our app, in our Cosmo Training app, but can also be used as accessibility switches to navigate through third-party apps and devices. The packages we offer is a package of 1 button, which is Cosmo Switch, and that serves purely as an accessibility switch to use third-party apps and devices. We have a package of 3 and 6. But whichever package you've used or you choose, you can use any of your Cosmoid devices. So Cosmoid device is the interactive button. You can use any of those as an accessibility switch to access your alternative augmentative systems, to navigate through your devices, to control your media, such as YouTube, Netflix, Spotify, Apple TV, and many more. And you can access educational content and play games. And we hosted a webinar in December, which focused purely on Cosmo Switch. So if you'd like to see Cosmo in action and see in practice how you can connect it and how it can be used to navigate through different devices, then I will send you the link in the follow-up email after today's session. So just to give you a quick overview of how to use Cosmo Switch, and then we will dive into using Cosmo as a system with our games in different environments in learning therapy and play. Cosmo Switch is highly customizable, and you can customize it so you can change a variety of settings using our Cosmo Switch app, which is free for iOS and Android. So I hope you will be able to see it now. So this is what the app looks from inside. As you can see, you can change different settings for each button. You can select different color based on your preferences among the 12 that we have. You can select a character which you would like to use to navigate your device. So you can choose volume up for Netflix, for example, or YouTube. You can change the responsiveness of each of the devices or brightness. So you can change the responsiveness from 0 to 100% for those who have sensory or physical mobility issues. So for those who need a little bit more, who can use a little bit less strength, you can increase the responsiveness, for example. You can select activation delay to allow more time for information processing. And there are some other settings like battery saving mode, which will allow your device to last a little bit longer. And then once you set your settings, you just click save. And then it takes only a couple of seconds to connect your switch to a device of your choice via Bluetooth. So that was the Cosmo switch. And now moving on to using Cosmo as a system, I'm just going to play this short video, which is a very nice introduction to what Cosmo actually is. And then we're going to dive into more specific use cases. Cool. So as you can see, Cosmo can be used by a variety of users in different environments. It can be used in mainstream and SEN education. It can be used in different types of therapy to support sensory regulation, music activities, and it can also support quality family time. And at the center of all that, we put inclusive play to really enable people of all abilities to be able to join in and take part in meaningful joint activities. One more thing before we dive into more specific use cases. Currently, we're developing a cool thing which will allow teachers and parents to be able to track their children's and their students' performance, progress in different areas, and they will be able to track different sort of skills like reaction time and engagement over time, the type of the activities they play, whether they're more interested in music, their coordination, and other data, which will then be able to report to parents, school management, education bodies such as Ofsted to support annual review and IEPs. Okay, so I mentioned Cosmo Training app. So I'm just going to play this short video, which will allow you to see the app from the inside. Cool. So as you can see, we've got a variety of activities. I'm just going to pause that for a second because it's going very fast. Based on music, sports, vocalization, some activities to practice speech and language development. This one is called My Orchestra, and it's a music-based activity where each of the devices, so for example, if you're using 6 devices, each of them corresponds to different instrument. And when you press the device, you can add that instrument to the orchestra and you can work together with your friends to create an orchestra. And then when you press the button again, it takes that instrument off the orchestra. You can choose from a variety of tracks based on your preferences as well. You can choose the number of units. And as you can see here, you can press the buttons. We actually don't have the buttons, that's just the app, but you can press the buttons to add the instruments or take them away. You can filter the activities based on the skills you want to practice, music or turn taking, some cognitive and attention skills, numeracy skills. And you can choose the difficulty level from early to expert. And mode, whether you want to play alone or in a group or some competition game. We also offer lesson plans, which are tailored for different learning outcomes and progression steps, which are designed for every activity as well. So you can use them as a guidance for your lessons, or you can just use them as a source of inspiration for different environments. So they are good not only for a school environment, but sometimes for therapy and for home use as well. You can just take bits and pieces and use that as an inspiration for your activities. Okay, so as you could see, those are all fun and engaging activities that provide stimulating learning experiences for people with special educational needs and disabilities, but also for early years foundation stage learners. Those are they support curriculum related subject areas, and they aim to help train a variety of cognitive and physical skills. They're good for individual and group learning. As you could see, you can filter the activities based on whether you want to engage in an individual activity or take part in group learning. And at the center of that, as I mentioned, but I'm going to mention that a few times today, is inclusive play. So we really want to bring peers together and make the group activities accessible to all of them and provide embedded learning opportunities to take turns, to problem solve, to cooperate, to have fun together and build some great memories. The activities support national curriculum in the UK, but they can be tailored to curricula of different countries. They support music, physical, social health education, literacy, numeracy, and expressive arts. And we provide a number of resources for teachers, such as Teacher's Guide, which will help you learn which activities can support what learning outcomes, and it will give you a specific and detailed guide on how you can incorporate the activities into your curriculum. Every activity has a separate help guide and tips, which can help you enrich the lessons as well. And as you could see, lesson plans for different skills in different areas. So in this video, you could see both neurotypical and neurodiverse kids playing together. One of the games in the Cosmo Training app, which is called Showdown. And basically in this game, you are split in two teams, and each of the teams is assigned a different color. And your task is to run around and press the buttons that light up with the color that's assigned to your team within a specified time frame. So you can choose the duration of the game to be 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And you just have to collect as many points as possible within this time frame. Cosmo is really useful for supporting physical education. As you could see in the previous video, that was not physical education session, but it gives a lot of opportunities for incorporating fun into PE sessions. A lot of the activities that we have, they incorporate music. So you can really incorporate music into PE, which provides that additional layer of fun and engagement. It can also support fundamental motor skills and offers some versatile movement experiences like jumping, crawling, hopping, kneeing, and a lot of different movements. It supports hand-eye coordination, and it involves everyone in team games. So you can really customize Cosmo to individual needs of every learner, and you can encourage them and you can make it accessible for them to participate in shared activities. I didn't mention that before. You can attach Cosmoids to different surfaces using the magnets which are available in the box, or you can use Velcro tape or screws to attach Cosmoids to a mounting arm. So you can enable people with physical disabilities to take part in the same activities as their peers are taking part. Cosmo can support numeracy and maths. It can support a variety of areas such as algebra, patterns, managing data and properties of shapes. To give you one idea, in numeracy, it can be used to identify numerical patterns and create and compare number sets using words like more, less, or equal. This is a very specific use case, and I think if you haven't seen the app yet, then it might be a little bit difficult to imagine. I hope not. But there is an activity in our app which is called All the Same. And the purpose of this game is basically to press the cosmoids to make sure, as many times to make sure they are all the same color. So you have to work in a team, you have to discriminate colors to make sure they're all match the same color. And the similar activity we have is all different. And the goal is just the opposite. So you have to press the cosmoids to make sure that every cosmoid is different color. And you can use the words like more, less, equal to describe number sets. In the second screenshot, you can see 2 red buttons and 1 yellow button. So you can say that the number of the red buttons is more than the number of yellow buttons. We have a number of schools using Cosmo in the UK and beyond, who work on developing student skills and supporting progress with Cosmo. They engage students in fun and motivating music lessons. They work on increasing learners' frequency of movement and supporting daily routines such as transitions between different places. So they just they gamify the transition basically. They work on developing spatial awareness, joint attention, collaboration skills, but also problem solving in a team, and increasing motivation and initiation of activities using Cosmo as the facilitator here. Moving on to different areas of therapy, Cosmo is being used by a lot of occupational therapists to support the development of a variety of skills, such as fine and gross motor skills, muscle strength, spatial and body awareness, and some other skills. And an example activity for occupational therapy is that you can organize and set up an obstacle course, which is also good for PE sessions, and you can sort of incorporate a lot of different areas using Cosmo in one. So you can set obstacle course using Cosmo and everyday objects and sensory equipment, and you can encourage the players to explore various movement styles as you would in occupational therapy, for example, crawling, jumping, climbing, doing frog jumps or bunny hops, to one of the games available in the app. So I mentioned the showdown activity where you have to press the cosmoids that light up with a specific color. So if you position the cosmoids across the room, you can also do it using magnets. So you can attach different cosmoids to the wall as well. You can really explore a lot of movement styles. You can use a variety of cognitive training activities to support people who have suffered stroke or brain injury to help them increase and work on the speech and range of movement. So in this video, you can see a man who has suffered a brain injury, and he's trying to reach to the right-hand side and to the left-hand side to try and increase his range of movement and touch the cosmoids. As I mentioned before, you can adjust the responsiveness of each of the cosmoids. So you can decrease the responsiveness to 0. So you'll have to use more strength to activate the button, or you can increase it to 100%. So you will really just need to use a light touch to activate the response. So for people with limited mobility issues, or for people who work on increasing the muscle strength, this is a good option to increase the responsiveness to 100%. So that relates to what I just said. Each of the switches is equipped with dynamic force sensors, has adjustable responsiveness, and is really useful in supporting strengthening exercises. You can attach the switch to mounting arms and different surfaces using magnets, Velcro, tape, and screws. And that all works and contributes to increased accessibility for people of all abilities. Cosmo is really good at supporting sensory regulation, and you can do it through incorporating Cosmo in sensory circuits. For example, to practice a sense of balance, you can use one of the sports-based activities, for example, showdown, where you have to press the cosmoids of different colors. Or there's another sports-based game, which is called exercise, where the cosmoids are positioned across the room, around the room, and you have to press the one that lights up. So you have to run around or walk to press the one that lights up. And this game, the exercise game, is not has no time frame. So you can play at your own pace and you don't have to rush. You can support motor planning, following sequences, timing, and body awareness. So for motor planning, you can attach the cosmoids to the wall, and you can use squishy balls to try and aim at the target, and you can practice your timing skills as well. So you have to press the cosmoid before it turns to a different color. And because you can increase the responsiveness to 100%, you can actually use squishy balls, and you can stand and throw the balls from afar, and that's going to trigger the response as well. So we wouldn't recommend using basketballs or any sort of very hard balls. So squishy balls are really enough. And you can support deep pressure and relaxation exercises by experimenting with responsiveness. So you can try and gradually decrease the responsiveness to engage the users to use more strength to activate the response. There's another activity that can, like a lot of activities that can support relaxation. For example, fireworks activity, which is a cause and effect activity where you press the cosmoids and you can see fireworks, colorful fireworks shooting on the screen. You can use Cosmo as part of the sensory room ecosystem, both at school, therapy centers. I didn't mention that here, but certainly, and home. That can support and that can enrich interaction with the environment and provide that additional visual and auditory feedback. And all of that can support good emotional regulation and can help students with emotional regulation. Cosmo can also support speech and language therapy and can support a variety of skills such as vocalization skills, expressing preferences in every activity, can support taking turns with peers, sequencing, problem solving together. And in this video, which I will play in just a second, this is an activity called My Voice, in which you can record your own voice, and then you can press different cosmoids to activate different special effects, and you can hear your voice distorted. So you can hear the chipmunk effect or different special effects, which provides an additional layer of fun for students. So you can record your own voice, but you can record different sounds from the environment for those who choose not to speak or who cannot speak yet. Very central element of all the Cosmo games and activities is music. And music is present in most of the activities that we have. So you can select different tracks which are a part of the database of the app, but you can also download And you can download your own songs from Spotify Premium or from iTunes, and you can just add them to the ads and enjoy your own songs and your own music while playing the activities. And the musical activities in Cosmo supports a variety of skills as well, such as auditory discrimination. They help students express themselves through music. They support vocalization, improvisation, and imagination skills. And we're going to talk more about Cosmo and music at our next webinar, which is on Tuesday, which is very, very close. But we will dive into more detail on how interventions combining music and technology can support students with autism and intellectual disabilities. And I will share the link to the event at the end of today's session as well. And moving on from education and therapy to home users, we have a lot of families using Cosmo successfully at homes. And we really see that Cosmo can support quality family time and daily routines, such as transitions, bedtime routine, or circle time. It can enable alternative ways of communication, and it can support communication within family. It can support inclusive play among siblings and peers of all abilities. It can help them learn to play together and find new ways of playing together. And it can help neurotypical siblings to feel like they have meaningful impact on the life of their neurodiverse siblings. And it can help them find ways to communicate and to interact better together. And overall, that can lead to having some really good quality family time. So in this video, you can see a boy who is playing Cosmo in the dark, which is actually a really good idea during a camping trip with his family. Okay, and that will be mostly all from my side. As I mentioned, next Tuesday, we will be speaking a little bit more about Cosmo and music and how using Cosmo, interventions combining Cosmo and music can be beneficial for students with autism and intellectual disabilities. This is based on research which we did with the University of Birmingham a few years ago, which was the basis of creating Cosmo and which made Cosmo a user-centered product. So I would really encourage you to come and be with us. The speakers will talk about the research finding, and plans and recommendations for future work. So Yorgos will talk a little bit about our industry and business and practitioners' perspective, and we will also have researchers from University of Birmingham join us next week to talk about their study and how they would like to proceed with researching technology and music in the future. Okay, so we're going to open the floor for the Q&A section. I hope I wasn't going too fast, but feel free to unmute yourselves and ask any questions you'd like, or pop questions in the chat, and we will be happy to answer them. First question, thank you, Nada. When are you going to release the tracking data platform? We don't have a specific date in mind yet, and maybe if Yorgos is here, then he would like to contribute as well. We are still working on it because we want it to make it very, very relevant. So we're still collecting some data and working with the users to make it really suitable and really good resource. But Yorgos, if you're here with us, then maybe you'd like to contribute as well.
So,
cool.
Indeed, We are looking to release the first version of the data platform later this year. I'm saying the first version because we really have big plans about what this data platform is going to look like and the types of insights it's going to offer. So the first version of it is going to be towards the summer, I think, as a beta version, and then we'll release it to the broader audience of Cosmo. And yeah, through this you'll be able to see how you deliver curriculum, but also skills and different metrics on cognitive and also on motor skills. So if any of you have Cosmo and are interested in participating in the beta version, please drop us a line and we'll be in touch with you during spring to arrange some sessions, get some feedback, and then work with you.
And we've got a question from Sue. How many switches come with the Cosmo kit? So we have 3 packages, a package of Cosmo Switch, which is only the 1 button. So if you want to use that as purely accessibility switch, then Cosmo Switch is the option. But if you'd like to play some more games, apart from the cause and effect activities where you have to use only, when you can use only the 1 button, we have a set of 3, which is Cosmo Explorer, and a set of 6, which is Cosmo Excel. But if you decide to go with Cosmo Explorer, which is the 3 buttons, you can also decide to expand the package and expand to 6. A question, can I see back the presentation on another time? Yes, I will share the presentation with you and the recording. So if you'd like to rewatch it and come back to any information, then of course. And a question from Shauna. Is there software or an app that is computer accessible? We have a number of students with visual impairments who do well when we are able to project content on a larger screen. That's a good question. Yorgos, would you like to take that?
I'm sorry, I did not follow the question because I'm dealing with the raffle that we have in a little bit. Let me just take the question on the chat.
So it's the second to last question from Shauna.
Is there software or app that is computer accessible? So our applications are not run on a computer. Nevertheless, as Eva mentioned earlier on, the buttons are also compatible with third-party applications that can become standard switches. And in those cases, indeed, you can connect them with any system that's Bluetooth enabled. So computers, indeed, tablets, phones, anything else. In those cases, you can use the Cosmo buttons, as I said, not as part of our own ecosystem, but there are tens of activities where you, or websites where you use buttons or the keyboard to play games or to access different educational resources, and you can do that with Cosmo.
And we've got input from Kim as well, is that you can mirror from an iPad to an interactive whiteboard, and that's what we do, and it works really well.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kim. That's good to hear. And the question from Lisa, how many switches are recommended for starting off for students with limited mobility and nonverbal? I would say that all depends. And I think it would depend on personal ability to communicate and move around. If those are students who use wheelchairs, then it might be a good idea to use 1 switch and then try and attach it to the wheelchair with a mounting arm or a Velcro tape. Or you can attach it to different surfaces, to a table. Doesn't have to be the wheelchair. And I think you can try and experiment really between 1 switch and more.
It also depends on the other abilities of this particular learner. So if they've been using different switches, if they can make choices, if they can navigate and understand color patterns and what you ask from them in the activity, then more than 1 switch, you can, I wouldn't recommend 6 switches because it can become quite a lot, but 1, 2, or 3 switches, depending on the ability level, is a good starting point. And of course, if any of you is interested, as Eva mentioned earlier, you can start with a small package and then expand it without any limitations.
Yeah, and also 1 switch is, well, that's mainly accessibility switch, so you can play different games and access different devices. and you can play some of the cause and effects activities available in the Cosmo Training app. But when you have more switches, that obviously gives you more possibilities to explore different games. Cool.
Okay. I'm busy doing the raffle. We would like to announce the winner in the coming minutes. It's taking me a while to control all the names of the present people, so give me a moment. I will provide the answer to that very shortly. In the meantime, I'll leave the floor to Eva.
It's a very stressful anticipation. But yeah, so thank you, Yorgos. If you've got any other questions, then feel free to speak up or to put them in the chat. As I mentioned, I will share all the links to the webinar on Tuesday and to the previous webinar on Cosmo Switch if you would like to rewatch, and the recording of this webinar as well in the follow-up email. But maybe since we've got some people here who use Cosmo, then it would be really cool to hear from you, because we've got some people here who probably haven't heard about Cosmo before, or maybe have heard just a little bit, but most of the information I covered today was new to them. So if any of you would like to share your experience with Cosmo and how you used it and maybe some use cases, then it would be really cool. Cool, Kimmy, go on.
Yeah, so we use Cosmo for all different things across school. So just to give you some background, we're a special needs school in Peterborough from 4-year-olds to 19-year-olds, range of abilities and chronologically working at very different ages. But we've recently done a whole school, like we have school teams, and we've done a whole school team event where each class has been challenged to play the colour game. I can't think what it's called now, but you're racing to get the right colours to score the most points. And then we get house points depending on which classes have scored the most. So it's a really nice sort of team building thing that everyone in the school can engage with, no matter what ability or physical disabilities they might face, which is great. And then right down to some of our lower ability students, we use it for cause and effect, which is wonderful. And then our higher ability, like my class, I've used it for physical education activities, which they love because they're, you know, class of boys who are all sort of year 6 to year 9, very competitive. They love the PE games on there. But it's such a great investment that we have in our school, that we're so pleased that we decided to purchase Cosmo, because it's just great. I can't praise it enough. I think it's a wonderful resource and we really use it a lot.
Wow, that's really cool. And it's really great to hear like how many ideas you have, and also about the inclusive play and putting everyone together to take part in like even competitive activities. I know not everyone likes competition, but it's fun for a lot of the people. So it's really cool if they can engage in a meaningful activity together. Really amazing to hear. Cool. We've got some people raising hands as well. So Stina, is that how I pronounce your name? Feel free to speak up.
Yes, I'm Stina from Physiotherapy from Sweden. I work at a rehabilitation center, and we use the Cosmo a lot, both for adults and children. It's a very motivational piece of work, I would say. When maybe we do this when you run around and push the lighting button. It's a very good way to move yourself around a big room in a high speed for much heart rate and balance, or for coordination, or for very much training for physical. So we like it a lot and use it a lot. We have 6 buttons, and we have 4, I think. Yes. Thank you.
That's really great to hear. Thank you. And great. I think one more person raising a hand, or not? I don't think so. Okay.
Well, if you want, I can
Oh, yeah.
talk.
Go on.
I have the Cosmo at home, and I use it for my disabled son. Once in a week when he is at home, then I try to train some, give him what skills. So I selected only a few part of the Cosmo items, and I try it every week, and it works fine.
Great.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant to hear. Thank you.
Okay. In the meantime, we used an online tool to make the draw, and the winner is Vivian. So, yeah, congratulations. We'll send you an email later on to get your address and then arrange the shipment. Congrats.
Cool. Okay. It was really wonderful to meet you all and to hear so many great words about Cosmo. And for those of you who would like to learn a little bit more about Cosmo and music, that's going to be the webinar on Tuesday, and I'll send you the follow-up link. But if you would like to know more from either me or Yorgos and have meet with us in person, then feel free to get in touch at eva@fidesia.com or hello@fidesia.com. Kimi, are you raising your hand? Yeah. Or is that by accident?
Oh, sorry, that's from earlier. My apologies. Sorry.
That's right. No worries. Thanks. Okay, and the chat. Let me have a look. Cool. Thanks, Sam, for joining in. Thanks, Nada. It was really great to see you, and I will follow up with an email. Amazing. Have good evening or have a good day. To some of you. Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Kirsty.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, everyone.